Here's Brody Brazil.
I'm here to ask a question which I do think is appropriate and applicable here in 2022, and that is this. Is it finally time to start grading Major League Baseball umpires? Well, he doesn't think so. Hey, hang on. What are you saying? All right, let me actually start with some disclaimers here because I do want to mention these things before anything else in the video. Number one, I believe firmly umpires do a thankless job. Imagine only getting attention when you screw up or when it's noticeable or when somebody has a complaint. All the other good days when you do your job just fine, nobody says anything. Well, what? You get no credit there. You only get the criticism. And speaking of criticism all around, sometimes it's one team, sometimes it's the other team, sometimes it's both teams. If it's a controversial decision or call, you're obviously going to make somebody happy and somebody disappointed. So it's never the case of a win-win situation. How about split-second calls? They're only human. I realize it's what they do for a job. This is their craft. They're supposed to be really good at this. They've got years of training and development and skills and experience, all that stuff, but they are still human in the moment to have to read a situation and react to it, whether it's a ball or a strike or a tag play or a force play, whatever. It's not easy. I will give them that. And I would also add that, yeah, they have technology, but we also have technology. And I don't think technology is necessarily the best friend of an umpire. We can see things now with zoom lenses and super slow motion and 4K. Trust me, I work in television. I know all the resources we have. It's almost unfair to show you an umpire's initial call and then be able to evaluate it from 6 different angles at super slow speeds from perspectives that there's no way they had with the naked eye. And then lastly here, once you earn or deserve a reputation as an umpire of the bad variety, it's hard to shake that, right? Your name is associated with a blown call or this or that or a changing strike zone. It's hard to shake that reputation. So all that said, I want to defend umpires on all of that. And maybe there's more, but these are the first things I could think of. But now that that's been said, consider everybody on a Major League Baseball field who gets evaluated by their performance. Obviously, all the players. If you're slumping, you may not play. If you've been slumping for a long time or you're relatively new at the league, you may get sent back down to AAA. Managers, coaches, they're all evaluated on performance. How the team does, if you're a pitching coach, how your staff does, if you're a hitting coach, what your team's batting average is, all that stuff. The front office, they never actually step foot on the field during a game, but it's their trades, their signings, their acquisitions, all of that gets evaluated with performance. Even trainers, I'm trying to take this as far as possible. Even trainers, physical trainers, get evaluated on how healthy a team can stay or how quick a player can recover or not. So there are metrics for everything, and that's kind of a specialty of baseball, right? Like there's a stat for everything. There's 5 stats for some things. All the basics, which batting average, earned run average, win percentage. We could dive one layer deeper than that. OPS, WHIP, WAR, etc. No, that's ETC is not a stat. At least I don't think so. That's etc. You catch my drift here. Sabermetrics takes it super deep into the stats of stuff you never even knew existed. So literally there is a stat for everything. Which brings us to this. As the public sees it, why are umpires immune to performance evaluation? And usually this conversation comes after a blown call that decided a game, and everybody says, well, how come this person can make that call and there's no penalty, there's no criticism? I don't actually know what happens. I don't think a lot of people know. Maybe there are conversations between Major League Baseball, the Umpires Association, the actual umpires themselves. Maybe there are internal reviews and evaluations and criticisms and memos and judgments. They never really make that public. So only as the public sees it, there's never any repercussions for making a bad call, having a really bad game or series, or deciding something of a of a terrible fashion, right? There's no follow-up to it as the public sees it. So it kind of gets me thinking, would it be fair for umpires, just like everybody else, to have stats? And I've been following this on social media, specifically on Twitter. You can find them at the handle Ump Scorecards, also umpscorecards.com. They put out one of these for most every Major League Baseball game, and it obviously centers around the home plate umpire. I think base umpires are also interesting too, but they have less of an impact on the game. Usually, obviously, first base umpire has a bigger hand in bang-bang plays, but second, third base umpire, obviously they are critical too. But as it relates to the home plate umpire and balls and strikes, like for example here, Laz Diaz on Tuesday, June 21st, game at the Coliseum where the A's lost to the Mariners 8-2, he had an overall accuracy of 90% calling balls and strikes. And usually, 90%, is that good? Is that bad? That's up to you to decide. Obviously, the game was one-sided, so if it was a 3-2 game, maybe a 90% accuracy is not good because it's actually 4% below his average. Overall consistency, 92% as opposed to a 94% average. Overall favor, plus 0.72 runs for Seattle, based on which team he was more accurate for versus against. That's also interesting. It shows you all the missed calls there. Of 131 taken pitches, he called 118 correctly. Impactful missed calls, it lists the number 1, 2, and 3, the biggest changes in run expectancy. And then on the bottom there, called ball accuracy versus called strike accuracy. So this is deep. This is detailed. I, by the way, highly encourage you to follow this account. Also visit their website to learn a little bit more. But it goes back to my question. This is a perfect example of, should Major League Baseball be part of this? Should umpires have stats that are known about, that fans can critique them on, that they can have the awareness of, okay, what team is playing what team and who's the home plate umpire today? And also, like I mentioned, this is just for the home plate umps. What if they ever expanded this to all the umpires as base umpires as well, too? Maybe if instead of just this, what if it was a group evaluation of the day? I think it's interesting to consider. If you go onto Ump Scorecard's website, they tell you more about what they do. And one of the FAQs here says, what data do you use and where does it come from? Well, MLB releases detailed data for every pitch of every game. Each morning, my program grabs all this pitch-by-pitch data from the previous day's contests. Within the data, each pitch is assigned 89 attributes. That's crazy, 89 attributes per pitch. From the pitcher's release position to the pitch's horizontal acceleration, we care about 5 of those 89 values. 2 of them are the pitch's horizontal, plate X, and vertical, plate Z position as it crosses the plate, right? They're just mapping out where the pitch went. 2 are measures of the top and bottom of the strike zone bottom and strike zone top, values that reflect the size of the zone once adjusted for batter height and stance. Finally, we use the resulting call of the pitch. In conjunction, these 5 values can tell us whether a pitch was a strike or a ball and whether or not it was called correctly. Is that too deep? Is that too far? I'm not at the point of suggesting robo-umps yet, but I'm at this point right now. Is it time to grade the human umpires? And I'm not saying they have to be perfect, and I don't want to hold it against somebody. I'm not going to dock their pay immediately. I'm saying as an experiment, as a sample. Baseball's trying new things. Not going to suspend anybody because they have a bad percentage. But is this something we should be tracking publicly? Obviously, it's being done. Should baseball recognize this? Should baseball use this? Is it something that needs to go a little bit more mainstream? Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below.